It is the 10th of January, 1942, in the Heclapar versus Wirraway play-by-mail campaign. This turn feature our first full ground attack at Singapore after crossing into the city about a week ago. K-18 patrolling the Java Sea. Just very minor damage to K-18. Some destroyers run into a small transport leaving Sorbaha. His PT boats run into my escort carrier task force. Looks like the PT boats must have been low on fuel or something similar. I'm bombarding Johnson Island since his naval search didn't discover me, and my light cruisers find a transport, presumably unloading supplies there. This will the Exmoor goes down. See if we. Oh, there was a destroyer in port. It doesn't look like any aircraft, just the Johnson Island detachment. Well, now I'm sorry, I didn't invade the darn island. Okay, 11. Ooh, she's hit. These are more support troops, engineers, aviation support, landing, and preparation for taking Palembang. Engineers continue to unload some Lucky. These are artillery unloading. So these are heavy guns. This transport cleaning up dot bases. Minesweepers are clearing the lane to Sorabaja. Like to get fuel out of Sorabaja to support my thirsty navy in the slebs. So today we're hitting his ground troops in Singapore. See if we can disrupt them a bit. Interesting. I lost an Oscar in that engagement. But he's hitting the retreating Dutch. Doesn't look like they have any engineers left. Um, Ideally, they wouldn't get back into Tarapo with engineers, risking more damage to the oil there when I take it. Sonia's hitting the airfield at Palembang, just focused on keeping forts from being built. Some airway is runway suppression again. Don't want to give him if the attack isn't successful. Don't want to and reduces forts. Don't want to give him a chance to build back uh, even one fort if possible. Okay. Let's see how our ground attack goes. 4th Division is not participating in the attack. 2nd Division regiments are participating in artillery, but not its engineer regiment or its recon regiment. I think it's the 40th Infantry Regiment is has a different headquarters, and I did not spend the political points to reform the division because I have another more valuable pressing need for those points at the moment. But normally I would not attack without fully formed divisions if I can avoid it. You can see the regiments tend to get hammered. Oh, they won. Now that looks like this did not suffer many casualties. That sets us up well for phase 2 operations. So let's see. Our 2700 AV came in about 60%. His 423 came in a little over 100%, 3-1. 12 destroyed squads, 248 disabled. It looked like most of those amongst the 2nd Division regiments, which is, is fine. Obviously, uh, his losses were total for what remained in Singapore. He has broken up his corps here. Might be time to reform and have a go at them. 14th Tank Regiment pursued these units last turn. Yep. Gloucestershire's surrender. Aligiati falls. It's good. And looks like the Australians finally are destroyed. Typical Allied bombardment in northern China. He's trying to decide, I assume, whether he wants to attack here. The last of the stragglers in the Yellow River Valley. Definitely don't want to continue bombarding there. Well, the outcome at Singapore appeared to be very favorable. We'll check the units. Um, but based on what I saw, I suspect all my main divisions that participated will be rapidly ready for additional operations, and only the second division regiments suffered significant disablements, and that will make it a lot cheaper to buy out that one regiment that's in the wrong headquarters to be able to reform that division if I want to. Just a reminder, if you haven't experienced this before, disabled squads don't count for cost when you're trying to change unit headquarters. So the cheapest time to do it is after the unit has just suffered a difficult fight. So let's just on the air war. Allied losses 9-2. Going, I lost an Oscar 1B. Those are a funny aircraft with one machine gun, one rifle caliber machine gun, one 12.7 millimeter machine gun in the cowl. They're not a bad aircraft. Another Jake ops loss, Dorners, Blenheims, Kingfishers. Nothing, nothing big. Just a reminder, typical stuff destroyed while building. Didn't cover this last term, but Sumatra was destroyed, and O21 and O24 were both destroyed at Surabaya when it fell. It says K11 was sunk. Possible. Uh, we'll look out to see if the submarines attempt to be repaired at Batavia over the next turn or two. Let's check in Singapore. The 21st Division's good shape. 5th Division is in excellent shape. 18th Division is in 33rd Division is in good shape. These units didn't participate in the fight. So the 4th Infantry Regiment was and significant disablements. But this is a unit that's part of Southern Army, while the rest of the 2nd Division Army, yeah. So unit only 288 points to buy out, uh, which I may try to do. It'll take a number of turns for me to do that. another more pressing need. Looks like 6 squads and 24th Regiment lost 1 squad. So those losses, uh, when replaced, should not impact the experience of the units. Okay, well, that's very good news. So we'll clear the mines. Looks complete. Worst possible die roll. Everything is completely wrecked in Singapore, but that's going to happen. Uh, so haven't haven't had much luck at Surabaya or Singapore in terms of the die rolls for the infrastructure destruction, but Singapore's not a huge deal. This means the port isn't going to be useful for a while. The shipyard isn't going to be useful for a while. So, what political points for 40th Brigade? Um, excellent unit in the Korean Army, made up of 2 regiments, part of the 20th Division. The 40th Brigade is the main hammer for the remaining operations in the Aleutians. So we're going to move ahead with our operations in the Solomon Sea and the Coral Sea, grabbing these 2 bases to push our recon south, grabbing Tulagi, and right now we don't know where his carriers are. Brisbane, so the KB is going to cover. Other than base cleanup, uh, we've we've got what we want in the Bandasi. We're going to take Denpasar uh, tomorrow, turn after. It's like turn after. This SNLF needs to join this, and we'll go into Denpasar. Armor's going to run down these remnants, and we won't rush to take Tejipo. 2 infantry regiments will take to Chialajap, another tongue twister, while armor and another regiment moves on lightly held Batavia. Still mines showing here. Uh, I'm guessing, I didn't check, but those might have been submarine laid mines. And the destroyer minesweeper has swept one but hasn't found the other. We've got adequate supplies now at Pravomoli to continue to provide cap here, so our carriers are free to do other tasks. What will those other tasks be? Well, we're in good shape. It's the 10th, 11th of January. We have essentially 5 divisions uh, fully deployed operations with engineers, artillery, and a 6th division in Burma that now that Rangoon has fallen, we could task holding southern Burma. We're not going to be able to take Lasho without a significant fight. Um, and there's no real need now that the Burma Road is cut off. We can hold southern Burma and move on India. Um, could go, one of the common routes is invade here and encircle Calcutta and Madras, move on and Hyderabad. That's an option. You could land shorter, Chittagong, and focus on the Bengal region. The taking Calcutta, you know, with its heavy industry, light industry, is important, but it's times four terrain. Um, don't don't want to come at it certainly from across a river. Um, and then the question of, do you leave Ceylon? Do you take Ceylon first or later? But essentially, before I do any of that, um, I would I need to grab Little Andaman or Port Blair to be able to push naval search uh, out fully to cover the Bay of Bengal. So that'll be one of my next steps to do as a preparatory move as I finish recovering these units. And most of my transports are already here. So I could move on India quite quickly. I'm going to attack Palembang over the next day or two with the forces I have available and see how that fight goes. And from that outcome, I'll know, do I need another division or perhaps even two, which would make my forces available more modest. Just remember, right now I have about a division equivalent in regiments uh, operating on Java and two armor battalions. Which probably is not enough to take what he's going to have at Bandoing, but is an option to, for instance, commit this one more division to Palembang, perhaps the fourth, which needs more experience, take Palembang while investing Bandoing, and then just grind Bandoing down over time, keeping the airfield suppressed. It just depends. Uh, he's going to have all his AA units there, which will make suppressing it by air difficult and expensive. Um, but again, as I've talked before, it is always a challenge. And we'll continue our operations in Aleutians. Hokkaido Kushiro is now got barrage balloons, pretty significant number of barrage balloons, fortifications of three. So he won't be able to come in if he decides, for instance, a carrier raid on the um, resources there. Um, it could potentially be expensive for his carrier aircraft. We have AA and barrage balloons. Sapporo also has barrage balloons. Um, remember, you have to reach a combined port and air capacity of 7, and then the fortifications level becomes the barrage balloon level. Shikuka, uh, we've got more engineers developing. We're going to build out the Kerr Isles over the coming months, but the primary focus of operations in the Fifth Fleet area will be taking the remainder of the Aleutians. We'll see. We do have the option in phase 2 of going towards Alaska instead of, for instance, India. But our goal is over the next week or so, wrap up all our preparatory movements in Solomons, or where we need to be, probably, with the exception of naval search eyes out over the Bay of Bengal for a move on India. Uh, take for another probably 3 weeks to be ready for a move on Alaska and a lengthy redeployment, but it's still an option. Anyway, uh, looking forward to our next chance to talk, and we'll see you soon.